Hey, everybody, and welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. Okay, I'm here today with Dr. Ken Berry, who I know all of you know already, but I want to talk to Dr. Berry very briefly about iodine because, Dr. Berry, you talked about this literally years ago, the importance of it, but somehow I missed it. But it's come back to the forefront again. What symptoms would somebody be having that would make them think they should even consider iodine?
The symptoms of low iodine are going to mimic low thyroid, which would be fatigue, unwanted weight gain, trouble losing weight, trouble with just motivation, get up and go. All the low thyroid symptoms are going to be roughly similar to low iodine symptoms. But there are several symptoms of low iodine that don't mimic that. And probably the most common one, especially for women, is fibrocystic breast disease or fibrocystic breast pain.
Okay.
And this is almost 100% of the time low iodine. And the way we know this is that when a woman's having this breast pain, which can be almost disabling, it can be very, very severe, is when they start adding some iodine into their diet, it goes away like literal magic within days and stays gone as long as they continue to get adequate amounts of iodine in their diet. And so any woman with breast pain, that would be one of the very first things I would try. It's very low-hanging fruit. It's very obvious that the mammary tissue stores and concentrates iodine more so than other cells in the body.
Okay.
And anytime anytime a tissue in the human body, anytime a cell in the human body spends energy to concentrate something inside the cell or inside the tissue, that is a huge, humongous, glow-in-the-dark red flag that tissue or that cell considers that to be very, very important, perhaps even vital, or it wouldn't expend the energy and the trouble to do that. Our cells are only going to expend energy. They're only going to have a symporter, which is basically a little door on the cell membrane. Our cells don't make these things and put them in the cell membrane unless they need to get that element, in this case iodine, inside that cell. I'd much rather you get iodine from your diet. Much rather you get that. I think it's more bioavailable and absorbable, usable. There's a exponentially lower risk that you're ever going to get too much iodine that way. That'd be step one, and then step two would be to get something like Lugol's 2% iodine and put 1 drop per day in your coffee or whatever liquid you're drinking, and that's going to give you 1,000 micrograms a day. It's a very, very important element. It's an essential element, and if you don't get enough of it, you're absolutely going to suffer.
I'm convinced that it matters. I am curious, what has changed about the world or about our diets to where we're not getting enough?
That's an excellent question. And so it is quite possible that eating a diet of meat and eggs, you can get plenty of iodine. But you don't know for sure because it 100% matters where the chicken grew up and lived,
Okay.
what foods the chicken ate. There are parts of the country, just using the United States as an example, that are called a Gorder Belt. And it's kind of Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, kind of the upper middle part of the country. That area is so far from the coastline and has really never been part of a coastline. There's just no iodine in the soil there. And so in that case, you could be eating the most nutritious grass-finished beef and pastured eggs and pastured pork and everything perfect. You'd still be very deficient in iodine, so much so that you would actually get a Gorder. And so the 150 microgram recommendation, that keeps you from having a Gorder. It all matters where the cow grazed, where the chicken ate, what they ate, how much iodine was in the soil, therefore how much iodine got into the plants that the cow and the chicken ate.
I assume there is a blood test that's part of blood work that you could do to find out.
There is a serum test, but your body controls your serum iodine level so tightly that you can be severely depleted and you'll still have a normal serum iodine level. So really the best, and you also, let me talk about another test that a lot of people believe is real, is that you can put like Lugol's iodine on your skin.
Yes.
And based on how quickly it's absorbed or disappears, that kind of, and that's that's highly unreliable
Okay.
because different people have different thicknesses of stratum corneum on their skin. So some people will absorb it very quickly. Some people won't absorb it at all, even though they're severely iodine depleted. The skin matters very much, and that's a terrible test. That's not an adequate test. The best test of all is probably a 24-hour urine collection specifically for iodine. And as you can probably tell by listening to that, that's a pain in the butt to do
Yeah.
that. So most people are not like,
No.
that's a pain in the butt. I don't want to do that. And then many doctors' offices, if you went in and said, I'd like a 24-hour urine test for iodine, they'd be like, huh? They've
Right.
never heard of that in their life. And it's not worth it because if you have normal kidney function, if you take too much iodine in, you're just going to urinate it out. It literally is
Okay.
not going to cause any harm or damage whatsoever. So there's no need to test. There's no need to go through all that. Just make sure that you're eating iodine-rich foods. And so if you live near the coastline, that can be meat and eggs.
Yeah.
But if you don't live near a coastline, then you may have to go out of your way to eat some seafood once or twice a week, or use a supplement.
There are plenty of people out there who don't mind saying, yeah, give me the supplement. That's easier. But there are plenty of, especially carnivores, I would say, who are like, I don't want
Yep.
it to come
Yep.
from a supplement.
So my favorite go-to is sardines because they're
Okay.
cheap as dirt. It's almost
Yeah.
impossible to farm sardines because they're so tiny and
Oh,
there's no profit. So even the cheapest sardines you can buy at China Mart are going to be wild caught because
I
that's
like
really
that.
the only way you can.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so get the ones with the bones in. That way, you know you're getting all your collagen building blocks and all your bone building blocks, and you're getting a huge amount of omega-3 fatty acids, which many carnivores may not be getting enough of, right? And depending again on how your food was fed, you may or may not be getting enough omega-3s from meat and eggs. But if you add sardines 2 or 3 times a week, it's still 100% carnivore. You can't even argue that it's not. And you're getting all the omega-3, you're getting all of the collagen and bone building blocks that you may or may not be getting from your diet if you're not a big bone broth proponent and you're not eating the gristle and eating the cartilage off the end of the bones. Some people are grossed out by that. Eat your sardines, right? And then you're getting all the iodine you're ever going to need. You're getting all the omega-3s and all the collagen and bone building blocks in that one simple little food that literally costs $1 or maybe $2 for the really expensive sardines.
Okay. If people decide, you know what, I'm good with the Lugol's drops. Typically, what I have looked up on Amazon, you can find is the 2%.
Mm-hmm.
They make a 5%, but it's really hard to get in the US right now.
Yep. Yep.
So if
And
it's 2%,
it's unnecessary.
okay, okay. And they were to have, say, a small cup of coffee or water, whatever they feel. I've heard that coffee covers it up better than water because
Yes.
it's
does.
nasty, right? It's
Yep,
pretty
yep,
nasty. Okay.
yep.
If they started with 1, 2, or 3, you think that's the around 1 to 3 drops per day? You feel like that's a
Yep, yeah.
safe place for most healthy adults?
Yeah, and a lot of people mishear me. They think I say 1 dropper full every day, which would
Oh,
be about 30 drops. And that's
okay.
I still don't think that would be dangerous, but that's
Okay.
you're wasting your Lugols. You need
Got it.
1 drop or 2 drops a day, depending on how iodine depleted you are. And you can mix it. I cannot taste it at all in coffee, and
Oh.
Nisha can't either when I put it in there. Now, if she puts it in there, she can taste it.
Yeah.
But if I put it in there and don't tell her, she can't taste it. But now, definitely in water, she can taste it. There's no doubt
Okay.
about that. Another great way to do it is I'll use zero carb mustard. I'm that kind of carnivore,
Yes.
right? And so if I'm going to put some mustard on my hamburger, you can put that 1 drop in the mustard
Oh,
and stir it up. I promise you cannot taste it in the
perfect.
mustard. And you just turned your zero carb condiment into a little bit of a superfood. By doing that, you're getting 1,000 micrograms of iodine when you eat that little serving of mustard. Iodine is so important
Okay.
for the metabolism of every single cell in the human body that I think you should really go out of your way to try to make sure you're getting an adequate amount.
You've given us a cheap, easy, non-supplement option. And I don't love sardines, but I have acquired a bit of a taste for them. My daughter
Mm.
Julia, she loves them. We'll go out
Yep.
on the back deck. That's our back deck snack. I don't want the house to smell of it, but they're kind of tasty after you get used to them.
Yes, with enough mustard, anybody can like sardines.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Barry. You're always just a voice of reason in this space, and I appreciate you so much.
Thanks so much. Hope to see you at conference again soon.
Okay, same here.